make sure to hit that like button, because that way the video at least will be in your liked videos playlist. Also, if you like drama story times, you might consider becoming a part of the Patreon family, because something always happens, always. So, now, let's start with this insane story. Now, last time I just told the story of the wedding, but this time I'm adding even more details, just so you can understand the situation a bit better. So I'm going to refer to the main couple, bride and groom in this story, or future bride and future groom. Okay, so where do I even begin, to be honest? Now, the wedding I'm going to be talking about was a shotgun wedding. So the bride was already pregnant, and it was a shock to everybody, except for me, because I have predicted this scenario exactly to a T, because I used to say that as soon as the future bride will finish school, the future groom will try to get her pregnant. Now, I wasn't just making baseless assumptions, because the groom, since the beginning of their relationship, claimed that he is allergic to contraceptives. Oh yes. And I should also clarify that I was a long time friend of the bride, and everyone, including me, was warning her at the time, because it just seemed super, super shady. But she believed him. Also, apart from the fact that the groom was 20 years older than my friend, the bride, when my other friends met him for the first time, I wasn't there, because I met him like a year later actually, but when they've met, I think my friend tried to like warm up the atmosphere a little bit so it wouldn't be as awkward, and she was talking about how a button on her shorts fell off, and the future groom was like, oh really, let me see, and he put his hand inside my friend's pants to test the waistband, like right in the back. He was like testing the waistband, and keep in mind this was their first meeting, and this is why first impressions are so important, because since then I just classified him as not a great guy. Let's just say that. Okay, I'm trying to be polite here, but so also my friend didn't want to have the wedding so quickly before the baby would be born, but he wanted the wedding, so of course it was happening. Like, actually this is a very common theme in the relationship. My friend doesn't want something, but her now husband wants it, so she's always overruled. Anyways, so let's get to the day before the wedding. It was actually a very small wedding, and they used a venue that is not really for weddings. It's maybe for small events, get-togethers, high school reunions, or small performances, but that's it. It's not necessarily for weddings. Also, they didn't have a wedding planner, so they had to set up everything themselves, and I was recruited as unpaid labor to help with the wedding. The day before, it was a Friday, so I had to take some time off work. And I arrived, and there weren't a lot of people helping. supposed to put the cutlery and the plates on the tables. So this was for the reception, by the way. And the plates were a little bit dirty, a little bit sticky, and there was also a professional dishwasher at the venue. So I told my friend, let's wash these plates because they're dirty. Like, we cannot serve food on sticky plates. And she said, no, I don't want to deal with that. Okay, then we get to the cutlery. And this time the cutlery, some of it was dirty. There were still spices on it and they were sticky. So again, I say, let's wash the cutlery in the dishwasher. It would take like, I don't know, 15 minutes max. Again, my friend is like, I don't want to deal with that. So I tried to convince her to clean the cutlery and the plates. She's like, nah, I don't care. And at some point I was like, why am I arguing with you over your own wedding? What is going on? Listen, I don't care if a wedding is, small budget or whatever. That's completely fine. But at least let's make sure that everything is clean. Especially the guests' plate. Like, I feel like I don't even have to explain this to you. You get it, right? So then they even brought out these plates that another friend of mine stored in the attic, and this was for the buffet. And some of the plates even had dead wasps on them because they were in the attic. So do you think that we washed the plates? No. But then we spent hours and hours blowing up balloons that didn't even look good in the end. Anyways, let's skip to the day of the wedding. I remember I was so done after the preparation. I slept only like 3 hours before the actual wedding. So the ceremony was in the morning before noon. And I mean, not everything went smoothly. The bride lost jewelry of her mom's that she was supposed to wear for the ceremony. If that's not a bad sign, I don't know what is. But then the ceremony went fine. After the ceremony, we were supposed to go to a different town for the reception for the venue. And these two girls came up to us and the bride, and they were asking for directions. Seemingly, they seemed okay. We need fake names for them though. So one of them will be Lucy, and another one will be Mamba. You'll soon see why I'm naming her that. So they asked for directions. We went to search for the friend's mom's jewelry. We found it. We went to the reception venue. Okay, cool. After we arrived, my friends, aka the bride's father, tells everyone what is going to happen. So he's like, take seats, we're going to serve some food. And then he says to a wife of the groom's friend, and for you we have different menu since you're allergic to most things. I think nothing of it. Now, we go sit at the table, and on my left side is the maid of honor, my good friend. Then there's me. Across from me is another friend of mine, the bride's grandma, and then to my right side is a table of girls that I did not know. So they were friends of the bride that I've never met before. And on wedding of like 20-30 people. Now, okay, here's where the train wreck really begins, because as the groom is making a toast, he starts to introduce every guest one by one. But I was completely out of it because I was going back to Korea in a week and my mind was just so busy. Like, I still remember till this day the maid of honor was trying to get my attention, and I was just staring ahead, thinking about like Han River and what I have to pack and like mondo dumplings. Okay, like I was not paying attention at all, and she tried to get my attention for a good minute. At some point she started pulling my arm and still I was just like out of it. Finally, I'm like, what's going on? And the maid of honor says, Tsunami is coming. He's making the introduction. Now, I did not know this at the time, but the bride did not agree to make this introduction, so the groom thought it was a great idea to introduce everyone. But then they both agreed on not doing that, so the bride didn't prepare anything, and she was just put on the spot. As he is introducing every guest one by one, he gets to the wife of his friend that has a lot of allergies. After he finishes introducing her, Mamba next to me goes, "Oh yeah, that's the I have to censor this word. It's the C word, okay?" And I'm like, what? This came out of nowhere. Then the groom finishes the introduction. The bride starts introducing her guests, and she has no idea what she's supposed to say because she didn't prepare anything. The groom did, but again, they both agreed on not doing this. So she gets to the maid of honor and she's like, "Oh, this is my friend from high school. She's a doctor." Like, she just starts blabbering. Mamba next to me goes, "Why is that important?" You think I'm trying to make her sound arrogant or angry? No, that's exactly how she sounded like. And then she gets to me and she like blacks out completely. So again, she's like, "This is my friend from high school, blah blah blah." And then she like moves on, and Mamba is like, "What does she do for a living?" And the bride says, "I don't know," because she just blacked out. And then I say like, "Oh, because at the time I was working in translation full time. I don't anymore, but at the time I was." And so I said that, and Mamba next to me is not even like looking at me as she says this. She turns to her friends and she goes, "So you do nothing?" So then the bride continues, we're not over, and she's like, "Oh, she can speak Korean." Because she has no idea what to say. She didn't prepare anything. So Mamba again turns to her friends as she's saying this. She's like talking to me, but she's looking at her friends, and she goes, "Does she have Facebook?" What is going on? I did not give her my Facebook. I don't use it anymore. I still have the account, but I never use it. Do you think I want to be friends with this woman? Well, it gets worse. It gets absolutely worse. So the bride finishes the introduction and we start eating. Okay, So she was being condescending for no reason, and I sort of look at her like, are you for real right now? Are you serious? I slowly turn to my friend on my left side. I go like, what is this? And that was the last time I spoke to Mamba, because I have had enough and I'm not trying to start drama on this wedding, okay? Clearly, this girl has no manners. She doesn't know how to do a small talk. She's calling people names. People that she has never met in her life. Who is this person? Now let me give you some background info I've learned after the wedding. So, Mamba and Lucy are a couple. But Mamba has been known for cheating all the time in all of her relationships. And whenever she's dating a girl, she cheats with a boy. If she's dating a boy, she cheats with a girl. Okay. So now the bride was supposed to throw the bouquet. So everyone goes up from the table. And as we're getting up, Mamba turns to Lucy and goes very in a very harsh voice, I dare you to catch the bouquet. I fucking dare you. And I just felt so bad for Lucy, because what is going on here? So then everyone lines up and the bride throws the bouquet. And at first, it was flying right onto me and my other friend on my left side. I thought that there's still people behind me, and sure, if I jumped I could have caught it, but I didn't want to be embarrassing. So what happened instead was that as the bouquet was flying in my and my friend's direction, both of us have not moved an inch. We just looked at the bouquet as it was flying over our heads, and then we looked to the ground as it fell, and then we looked to each other, and that was it. So there was nobody behind us, and the bouquet just fell on the ground. And the bride goes, oh, you're supposed to catch it. So then she throws it again, and this time Lucy, out of all people, catches it. Here's what happened next. The groom comes up to Mamba. He pulls her in his arms like this. Pulls her towards him, so he has his arm around her shoulders and neck. And he kisses her on the lips, and it wasn't just a friendly peck either. No, he went for it in front of everyone at the venue. And I'm right next to them, and I was like this. And then I slowly turn around and I go towards my table, not knowing what just happened. And I go to the maid of honor. I'm like, did you see that? Did you p.m. There was still daylight, okay? And I just went and I was hiding in the toilets because I was exhausted. Mentally, I was also physically tired because I only slept 3 hours. So I was hiding in the toilets for a good like 15 minutes. And then the maid of honor, my friend, texts me, "You need to come out of the toilets right now." And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is happening now? What is going on now? So I leave the toilets. Here's what was happening. The groom was humping Lucy and Mamba and pretending to have a threesome in front of everyone at the venue. You know what's funny though? As soon as I walked in and we made eye contact, they stopped immediately. Immediately. That's right. Listen. I remember I was so shocked and I had no idea how I would handle the situation. I was just like, what is going on? But I should have said something because this was my friend's wedding. Why the hell is the groom doing this in front of everyone for literally everyone to see? Then, okay, we're not done yet, but I remember me, the maid of honor, another friend, instead of giving money as the wedding gift, because that's what they asked for, instead of handing it in like a paper envelope, a friend of mine created a poem, explicit one, and they put it onto like a wooden plate or something. I don't know exactly because I only contributed money. I had nothing to do with this. And so we go and we present the wedding gift to the bride and the groom. And long story short, the poem, oh god, I wish I could remember it. I know that there was an inside joke and it was explicit and it was only for the bride and the groom. I'm not pretending that I forgot. It's I didn't make this poem. I tried to find it in the chat. I couldn't for some reason. So all I remember is that my friend gave them the gift. The groom thought that it was hilarious, and he goes up on stage and he reads this explicit poem in front of everyone, the friend's family, and as he's reading it, I'm like, oh no, because he goes, "This is a poem from so-and-so and Michaela," and then bizarre, so inappropriate. Listen,